I did manage to contact a couple of groups. There was Women Volunteer for Africa. I was interested in them because of my background as a medical secretary and medical assistant. At the time I was living with my parents. My big brother, Father George, was in the seminary, and my other two brothers were married, so it was just my mother and my father and I. And I didn't want to leave for too long a time. And the commitment for Africa was at least 3 years. The commitment for North Carolina was 1 year, and it was working with the people I was particularly interested in trying to work with, not for, but with. And that's how I decided on the Mary Missioner programs. At that particular time, there were maybe about 6 programs compared to what there are today.
She says she decided on a place in North Carolina called the Mary Missioners. She could have gone to Africa or any other place. She picked this just by accident.
As far as the training goes, we trained in Statesville, North Carolina. There were 12 girls from different parts of the country. And we trained there with the Mission Helpers of the Sacred Heart. We learned how to teach the adaptive way. That was the system that the Mission Helpers used. We learned how to approach people, take census. The main thing about the work that appealed to me was the fact that we could implement, we could do other things with the people, the children, arts, crafts, teaching different things that we could see a need for, and that's what did happen eventually.
Visiting her one day down in North Carolina. I still remember that night. There were 12 young girls from all over the country and my sister. And they were singing, "Nothing Could Be Finer Than Being Carolina in the Morning," and so forth. I began to think about it. Nobody knows they're here. Nobody knows they're needed. Nobody knows they're here.
And Father George, in the meantime, was thinking about spreading the word, and that's how it happened. It happened because my big brother, the priest, listened. He listened to me, he listened to what we had to say about the people there, and he listened to the other volunteers. And it wasn't enough for him. He wanted to spread the word.
You know, and it was eating at me. And we're driving home. I talked to my mom about it. She said, well, see what happened with the Archbishop. When he came back from Rome, he called me in right away, and he said, "This fits exactly where we want to go. Gentes to the nations." What was the other one? Light to all the nations. And I had a friend, he was the one who recommended form a coalition, get all these groups together under one roof. So that's what we did. Took time to pull them together. Mary Noel, all these groups came together, and we formed this coalition.
At first, I wasn't too enthralled about the idea of spreading out too far. But then again, it gave us the opportunity to meet the different directors, the different programs, and to get to know more about them, to meet people who had been in areas that we had not recruited for yet. But recruitment and screening were the 2 main objectives of the office when it was in Newark, and it just did naturally grow from there. But again, it was because of some of the people that we met. The people made all the difference. We met great directors of the various programs, people who did understand, people who were trying to, both religious and lay people who were trying to spread the word.
No matter where you go in your life, no matter where you are, there's somebody in Africa, or somebody in New Guinea, or somebody in South America, or somebody in Canada, somebody in Alaska, because this office started. And that's always a great consolation to me. Now, once in a while, you get nostalgic about these things. I wish we were back doing that work. But it's been done. It's done as far as we're concerned. And thank God we've had some great directors who've taken over, infused new life, new ideas.
I think it was called for, I think it was necessary, and I think it was just something that was bound to happen. It was bound to happen because we had so many young people with their enthusiasm and their desire to do more than just sit back and talk about things, that it was going to happen, and it happened. And it's happening, and it's going to keep on happening.
Volunteers today, remember, they are continuing their process, which started so long ago. And they're the lifeblood now, the new years we're living in, the new times we're living in, to try to bring their faith to the world.